Right now on the WHAS11 night team, we have team coverage for you all new tonight. Kentucky and Indiana leaders are reacting to the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
My phone's been ringing off the hook.
A gunman on a nearby rooftop firing several rounds into Donald Trump's Pennsylvania campaign rally.
First you think like maybe firecrackers, but it continued, and then somebody yelled, "Get down."
Democrats and Republicans horrified over the political violence aimed at Trump. Mayor Craig Greenberg, the target of an assassination attempt as a candidate, also reacting. And we're talking to a former Secret Service agent who lives in Louisville. The Secret Service shot and killed the shooter. Right now on the WHAS 11 night team. And hello, everybody. Right now, as we join the rest of Kentuckiana, and the nation is in shock. Former President Donald Trump, the target of an assassination attempt during an early evening rally in Pennsylvania. He was injured, but is okay tonight, as you've been seeing from ABC News coverage. Thank you very much for joining us on the WHAS 11 night team. I'm Doug Proffitt. Now, our team of reporters here locally has been getting a lot of reaction tonight from Republicans and Democrats condemning the political violence. But first, we do want to bring you the very latest at this late hour, both from ABC News and the Associated Press, our sources. ABC News is now quoting a law enforcement source saying the gunman on a nearby rooftop fired as many as 8 rounds with an AR-style rifle. He was perched on a rooftop adjacent to the venue. The shooter was 200 to 300 yards away at the time of the gunfire. Witnesses say Donald Trump had just started speaking. The Secret Service says it killed the shooter. A person in the crowd was also killed. 2 other spectators have been critically hurt. Posting on his Truth social media site about 2.5 hours after the shooting, Donald Trump said a bullet, quote, pierced the upper right part of my right ear. Now, we have reaction from Kentucky and Indiana leaders, comments pouring in tonight. Here's what Kentucky's Mitch McConnell, the minority leader of the U.S. Senate, said moments after the shooting. Tonight, all Americans are grateful that President Trump appears to be fine after a despicable attack on a peaceful rally. Violence has no place in our politics. We appreciate the swift work of the Secret Service and other law enforcement. WHAS 11 night team's Jose Alonso begins our coverage. He's been talking to key local Republican and Democratic Party leaders.
My phone's been ringing off the hook, Jose. People are very concerned. Initially, it was concern about of course, the president's safety.
The chairman for the Jefferson County Republican Party, Don Fitzpatrick, says his constituents were watching former President Trump's rally closely. What's now deemed an assassination attempt has left the local party in shock.
Our support was where it needed to be without this, but certainly there's an emotional reaction when you see the person that is the nominee of your party being shot at.
Statements flooding in via X. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear putting out a statement saying, quote, Brittany and I are praying for the safety and health of the former president. Violence is never the answer. Never.
It is never the answer. And, you know, I'm pleased that he came out quickly and made that comment. Well, I think, Jose, it's important that we just reinforce that as a culture, as a country, violence is not acceptable. And we have to get to a point where there can be more open interchange about ideas.
Former 3rd District U.S. Congressman from Louisville, Democrat Mike Ward, agrees.
All political leaders need to make sure that they say no retaliation, no escalation. This should not be fodder for political conversation.
Are you ready? On you! Ready? Move! Up! Move!
Ward has personally been in many presidential barricades and praises the Secret Service for their swift action.
They were working as hard as they could. They jumped right up and protected the former president. That's what they do. That's why we should always honor and praise them for that.
An attempt on a political figure's life is no stranger to him, as he was working with Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg's campaign when he was shot at.
Was not at the headquarters the day of his shooting, but I did pick him up that afternoon to go to the press conference. I saw how it shakes people.
As this election year continues on, there's one message both party members share in common.
There should be no violence toward any of our presidential candidates, or frankly, any candidate at any level across the country.
Violence is never the answer. We need to go about our society in a democratic way, because we are better than that.
Now, it was very interesting hearing that from both sides of the political parties. What also caught my attention was both of their history as well. Fitzpatrick told me his grandfather was a congressman who was shot at the Capitol and survived. And Ward told me about how this reminded him of when President Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. were also assassinated. We are hearing from others as well. Republican Senator Todd Young also responding on Twitter saying, quote, "A terrifying scene at President Trump's event this afternoon, praying that he and all in attendance are okay and that calm will prevail. Violence is never the answer." So we have a lot of political leaders here in Kentuckiana condemning this action.
Jose, I know you found today it didn't matter which party, Republican, Democrat, people were eager to talk about this and swiftly condemn what happened today.
Very much so. We got statements just right off the bat from there, and people that we called all around today. I'm just happy that they were able to talk with me on camera today.
All right. Thank you very much, Jose Alonso. Well, talking about Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, he was also the target of an assassination attempt as he was running for mayor in February of 2022. Federal authorities say Quintez Brown went to Greenberg's campaign office in Butchertown that day and fired 6 shots at him, missing him, but bullets did graze his sweater. The Greenberg campaign later releasing the photos of his sweater. Brown has not been tried. He's in federal custody as prosecutors are now asking for further psychiatric evaluations. Well, the Louisville mayor did send out a statement tonight about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Craig Greenberg saying violence has no place in politics, period. Rachel and I know this pain all too well and will be praying for everyone impacted. More of our team coverage here on the Night Team. A Louisville man knows the Secret Service better than anyone. He served with them for more than 20 years. Tonight, WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dieterer headed out to talk with Greg Gitcher shortly after more facts became known about the assassination attempt. Alex?
Well, Doug Gitcher, who was a Secret Service agent for more than 2 decades, says the training these agents do is not taken lightly. And as you can see just watching back this video that happened earlier today, you can see how quickly the agents were up on that podium. But seconds matter, like Gitcher tells me, and the outcome today could have been a lot different.
The Secret Service is going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb, magnifying glass, and figure out what happened and how did it happen. And who did something wrong, or maybe something was overlooked. I'm not saying Secret Service did anything wrong. I have no idea. But somehow that gun got in there and shot, right?
Retired Secret Service agent with over 21 years of service, Greg Gitcher of Louisville shared his expertise on the first assassination attempt our country has seen since Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981.
And they got him on the ground. They surrounded him with their bodies, right? For anything else, remember, there could be an ambush at a second location. And they got him in the vehicle, even though he's fist pumping. I'm sure his adrenaline was pumping, you know. He almost got killed, so his adrenaline's got to be going crazy. But they're trying to get him into that armored limousine as quick as they can. And
now, a former president with an ear covered in blood after shots rang out at a Pennsylvania rally.
If it was a bullet that was close enough to clip his ear, that would have meant that he probably had his head turned, and if his head turned a different way, it could have been a different outcome.
The shooter was confirmed to have fired shots from a nearby rooftop, something Gitcher said could have been a blind spot for the agents.
It could have been something as simple as they were on the other side of that roof over there, and where the guys were looking, they couldn't see him because he was just over the ridge, you know, and then he just came around for a second and fired. I'm not making excuses, but they normally wouldn't miss a person with a gun on a roof across from them.
Gitcher said he was proud of the Secret Service agents today, and the Secret Service also said today, quote, U.S. Secret Service quickly responded with protective measures, and the former president is safe and being evaluated. 1 spectator was killed, 2 spectators were critically injured. The incident is currently under investigation, and the Secret Service has formally notified the Federal Bureau of Investigation, end quote.
Well, Alex, Greg Gitcher, such a respected voice in this community. Of course, he also protected a couple of Louisville mayors. But you know, tonight, the Secret Service is also, I've saw, getting criticized. Some are calling this a major failure when there was real concern going into this rally about the political climate. What did he say about that?
Right, and I think, there's obviously cause to be a little bit worried. There's been such a spark in this political environment. But Gitcher did say that the agents do bomb sweeps, they have bomb sniffing dogs, they have detectors, they have snipers that counter other areas. But when it comes down to it, you just heard Gitcher say it comes down to these seconds and these milliseconds. And so, we just saw today that just a millisecond could have been the difference between life and death. But today's attempted assassination is going to be looked at very closely, like you heard Gitcher said, for years and years to come for other agents.
And you know that scrutiny already beginning. Yeah, before sunset tonight in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much, Alex. So now we do want to bring you up to date in the latest from ABC News. They've been talking to witnesses, President Joe Biden addressing the country earlier, and law enforcement sources are describing how this shooting happened outside the security perimeter for the Trump rally.
Take a look at what happened.
Tonight, new information on what's being investigated as a possible assassination attempt on former President Trump. The Secret Service says a shooter fired multiple shots toward the stage from an elevated position outside the rally venue in Butler County, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh. The Secret Service says their team neutralized the shooter, who is now dead. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the shooter fired as many as 8 rounds using an AR-style rifle from a rooftop 200 to 300 yards away. Tonight, Trump releasing a statement that reads in part, "I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin."
First you think like maybe firecrackers, but it continued, and then somebody yelled, "Get down." We got down, and we huddled and we started praying.
The shooting happening minutes into Trump's rally. Trump on stage reaching for his right ear, then apparently ducking behind the podium. Secret Service agents rushing the former president. Moments later, Trump taken to his feet with blood on his right ear. Trump waving a fist in the air as he's led off the stage surrounded by Secret Service agents. This is happening ahead of a major week for Trump, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
Perry Russum, ABC News, Milwaukee.
Our country's top political leaders are coming together in unity now tonight, condemning the attempt on the life of the former President Donald Trump and the fatal shooting of a person at the rally. 2 former presidents were quick tonight to send out their disgust tonight. Former President George W. Bush responding tonight on social media. "Laura and I are grateful that President Trump is safe following the cowardly attack on his life, and we can commend the men and women of the Secret Service for their speedy response." And former President Barack Obama also responding on social media, saying there is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't know yet exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. Well, Donald Trump was talking to the crowd about immigration when the shooting started. People in the crowd told ABC News they also heard bullets whizzing by them. One man said he watched gunshots hit machinery that sent hydraulic fluid spilling right out. It's a chilling development on the eve of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. It starts on Monday. A lot more details are going to be developing overnight. ABC News special coverage will continue in the morning on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. New details on the shooter, the victims, and lawmaker reaction. And at our team at WHAS11tonight.com, CJ Daniels and Jay Skeba have been busy posting the latest information for you. The top story people are reading right now: AR-style rifle recovered at Trump rally shooting scene. Go to WHAS11.com for breaking news.